right below me, Spirit-Centered Business. Wants you to get involved with her show. She's doing it every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And it's really good stuff. I've already listened to several of them, Bralynn. They're really good. I appreciate what you're doing. Very professional. And got some good information in there. Really, really love what you're doing. So what inspired this?
Oh, you inspired me, Gil.
Well, I know that we had started doing some Spirit-Centered Business, together, right. And I really love the entrepreneurial side of the Spirit-Centered Business. It's just there's only so much I can do, so I kind of had to step out. But this has been your baby from the get-go. I mean, you started this like how long ago? Why don't you give us a little bit of the history and where you're at right now with it?
Sure. Yeah. So I started Spirit-Centered Business 1.0. About in 2014, and I actually had created a 12-week program to walk people through. And at that time, I had alignment was the big thing, and it was the three-way alignment of your head and your heart. And that comes from my story because I operated a lot from my head and wasn't engaging my heart. Yeah. And then the alignment with God, vertical alignment with God, and then the alignment of horizontally with the universe, how the universe worked, and with others. And at that time, the people that I was marketing to a lot of them were in the church bubble. And so when I'm talking about spiritual principles, and especially the vibrations of our emotion and the frequencies and how our words are powerful and, things like that they weren't ready to hear yet, I really got shut down at that time. So
and what year was this again?
This was in 2014.
Okay. So not too long ago, but long enough ago that people weren't ready in that region.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I was labeled New Age, and that it was just a bad time. Even my, the partner that I was kind of running with just kind of said, oh, I can't handle this, what you're teaching. Wow. So it was difficult, but the meat of the program had some really good training in it, and it really had some juice. And so I always thought, well, I know it's going to come back around at some time. And so then last year, when you and I got together, I'm going to call that Spirit-Centered Business 2.0, when Gil came on board, and we created a couple of webinars and workshops, and those webinars are still available and in your network, in the Kingdom Talks Media Network, and on the spiritcenteredbusiness.com. Those were really good webinars that we did, and then they led into workshops that were also very good. But you're right that with launching Kingdom Talks, it was just a bit much for you, and then now you're moving and all of that. So now what I'm going to call this launch Spirit-Centered Business 3.0.
And, 3 is the complete, circle there.
There we go. So, I'm so excited because the majority of it, just the show itself, I have business people, I have spiritual people, and we're teaching both. And some of the business people are teaching some very, very practical things, things about doing taxes as a business person, sales and marketing, how to have negotiation skills, how to do websites, what's SEO, how to, hire well, how to delegate, how to set up a business model, all of these crazy things, wealth protection, wealth management, all of these things that as when you step into an entrepreneurship, there's so much more that you don't know. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because we think we're really good at this thing, and so if I'm going to start a business doing this thing, well, unfortunately, there's 150 other things that need to get done, and so you not even get to do the thing you started with. So It's kind of like training in all of those other areas. And even if you only need to know about it so that you can delegate it well or hire well, to, hire to your weaknesses so that you can stay in your strength zone. So there's going to be a lot of that. I've got some great people on board. I've already had some great shows. And
who are some of those shows? Share with us some of the people you've had on your shows already.
Oh, sure. So my very first guest was Jerry Bryant.
Love Jerry, yeah.
Yes, an amazing man after God's own heart. He has just such a father spirit, but he's also an amazing businessman. He's put on, shows and events, and he had his own store and ran organizations. And
I was amazed when I listened to that and heard, all that he was doing and had done. It was pretty awesome. So, yeah, it's a side of Jerry that I didn't know yet.
Yeah, and actually in the academy, which is the members part of Spirit-Centered Business, he taught on the quantum experience and emotional healing. So it was really good.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. Awesome.
So yeah, and then I've also had Lily Weeks on, and she's an amazing entrepreneur. She's been in the publishing industry. She ran her own magazine. She now publishes books. Her first title was actually Chris Carter's Cosmic Shift. No. In the Palaces of Heaven.
Right, yeah.
But she did publish Cosmic Shift as well.
Right.
But she had run several businesses and helps her husband run his business. And so she has a lot of great entrepreneurial skills, and she helps people with content strategy similar to the way I do it. And what she's teaching in the academy is the asset assessment, so that you can just take inventory of what you have in order to start right now. Wow. That's one of my things, is you don't need another degree. You don't need a whole bunch of training. You don't need to get fancy. You could start making money right away. And actually, go ahead. I was just going to say, we proved that with Ruthie Andrews. She's one of my newest clients. And after she hired me, and I think within days, she started making money on a program that we hadn't even created yet. And to date, about a month ago, she had made over 300% ROI on what she hired me and my team to coach her and get implemented. So she's going gangbusters, and guess what? We haven't even marketed yet. We're doing that next.
So I just want to say, number one, where do people go to find you and find this academy?
Sure. SpiritCenteredBusiness.com will be there, and it's also going to be on the Kingdom Talks media site in the network. They'll be able to go through there. The academy is going to be starting in February because I wanted to make sure that we have courses in place. Obviously, we're going to keep adding to them week over week over week, but I wanted to have an archive already there for the people who jump in. So it'll be starting up soon.
So if you're watching, if you're listening, then make sure you tell people, especially if you know people who are in business or struggling in business or wanting to start a business, send them over to spiritcenteredbusiness.com.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
And we'll put it in the notes too.
Yeah, sure. And actually, by the time this recording comes out, I will have had Michael Basham on. And he is just brilliant. He has traveled the world and had a lot of real world experience of bringing his spirituality into the marketplace in his 9 to 5. Like there is no separation with him.
Right.
I absolutely love that he shows up his spiritual, self wherever he is. And so he's going to be talking about that. And then also the beauty of podcasting. He's been podcasting. He has well over 400 shows. He's been doing it for years and years.
Yeah.
Just to, that's an excellent marketing tool. So we'll be talking about marketing through podcasting.
Awesome. So what would be some of the key things that would separate you from other people that are coaching and helping people build their businesses? What would be some of the key things that would help people say, I need to go to Bralynn to get that done so that I can move forward in my business?
Well, first of all, I want to just say that I don't know everything. And so
Really?
when I know, Gil, I know. So when people come to me and we do what I call a discovery call, we just see if we're a good fit.
Yeah.
And because I know so many people in the industry, that if I know that I'm not a good fit, I can direct you to someone else. But what makes me a good fit for people who are looking for spirit-centered business is that piece of that spirit-centered business is now alignment, those three-way that we talked about before, access, which is access into the heavenly realms. And I literally pray or take people right up into the throne room or into the blueprint room. We went today with a client. It was amazing. You know, we in the Spirit-Centered Business Activation Group, which is separate from the Academy, the Activation Group, we literally grow up into a conference room that Father created just for us. And then the impact piece is where the rubber meets the road, and we really learn spiritual or the business principles to put in place that will move you forward, and literally, you know, traction, getting a website built, getting your content strategy done, you know, doing a sales funnel or a transformational journey to walk your clients through those kinds of things.
Awesome. So then, you know, there are a lot of other people out there that are helping people build businesses. Well, I'm just going to say this part because when we were working together building this, I love business. I'm an entrepreneur. I've had 15 businesses and 5 corporations, and you know, just I love it. But I don't find meaning in those things. But I do find meaning in the I'm going to use the word ministry, but in what we're doing in ministry with Kingdom Talks and so forth. I love sharing the good news and getting the word out there. I love doing that. I did not find fulfillment even when I had, I had some businesses that made some really good money. I made $2 million over $2.5 million over a 2-year period. My company did, and so it was a good season. But I told my wife even then, I'm not fulfilled. My fulfillment was when I was actually pastoring or leading, in things in ministry, not the business. So. Yeah. What I loved about Spirit-Centered Business, it was taking things into the heavens. And I don't know if you want to share a little bit more on the alignment, access, and impact, just because that to me was what was so powerful about what you were doing. And, obviously we spent, I don't know how many webinars sharing that. It was quite a bit. So you don't have time to go into all of it, but it would be nice to hear a little bit of it.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I encourage everyone to know their own identity and to know the lane that they're supposed to be in. If Spirit-Centered Business any way sounds interesting to you, you're probably in the right place. Because it's not going to be interesting to someone it's not their calling to be in business, right? But here's the thing is when we know our identity and when we know how to stay in our own lane and do what we're called to do and actually are able to walk out our destiny through our business, that's what's so fulfilling. Because you don't have to be like working a 9-to-5 over here and then being all godly and spiritual over here. It's all together. It's the oneness of being who you are meant to be and helping the people who need you in the marketplace. Yeah. We're here to solve problems. I mean, I'm going through the book of Proverbs right now and learning wisdom. And favor comes to those who solve problems for people, who are obedient, who are disciplined, who are taking risks. And all of those qualities are entrepreneurial qualities, So when you're doing that in a way that's in total alignment and also in integrity and with the knowledge and the skills and the favor and the access to wisdom, that will be so fulfilling. And so I'm glad that you said that, because yes, it does become very unfulfilling if you're working for money. So this is one of the things that I cringe, when I hear people say, well, I saw this business opportunity and you can make really good money doing it. I'm like, good luck with that. It's like, oh, the money is so not it. That's a byproduct. That's just what you receive in energy from the talents that God has already given you, that you pour into someone else or pour into a solution, right? The money just comes.
Yeah.
And no one will look at your life if you're broke and say, wow, I want more of that. That's why we're called to be priests and kings. We want to have a lifestyle that looks like someone would actually want it, that looks like we have favor, that looks like we're royalty, that looks like all of the things that God said we were. And in order for us to do that, we have to let go of it. It's so ironic. We talked about this, the principle of the desire of our heart.
Yeah.
We have to let go of the external factors that would drive us, and we have to cling to the internal frequency that we truly desire. And that's in one of our webinars that we did.
Yeah, that was really good, and we've shared it many times on here as well. A lot of that came from Alexander Lloyd and his book, The Love Code.
The Love Code, right? But then we turned it on his head too.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of very, very powerful principles coming out of that, and just combining it with the focus on stepping into the heavens and engaging with heaven. There's so much to learn there, and I just can't say enough to anybody listening to actually engage, if you're in business, to engage with these practices and these principles, because stepping into the heaven and gaining the wisdom of heaven and letting Father lead you, there is nothing like it. And Kingdom Talks Media came out of these principles, learning to sit in the seat of rest. And I'd actually gone through these principles before I even knew them or understood them, but it was the alignment, coming into the alignment of who God says I am and believing it. And so that brought the alignment. And once I was aligned and I could see my perfected self sitting in the seat of rest and I could just engage there, that opened up the access to where all the things that God created me to accomplish and to do, He began to bring those things necessary in order for me to accomplish those things and do them. It's the law of attraction, or the law of sowing and reaping. It's real. It's the way God has created things, but it comes when we are at rest and focused on who we really are and loving ourselves as God loves us. And then comes the impact. So I just can't encourage people enough. If you're in business, get hooked up here with Bralynn and find out what she's teaching. She's got a lot of great people online as well. So what else would you like to share?
Yeah. Well, some of the people that I am going to be bringing on the show aren't necessarily stepping into that access piece of the next stage. What they will bring is more about the integrity, the identity of knowing who you are in Christ, and the business principles. So what I love the platform, because I can bring people that don't necessarily agree with me in every area, and I'm pulling those gold nuggets, because there's treasure to be found in a lot of different places. There's wisdom all around us, and we have to not take a book and look at only the cover, right? If there's gold in it, even if it's someone that you wouldn't necessarily agree with, and there's probably going to be people that won't like the show if I bring on people that ruffle their feathers, but I can tell you that God is leading me to these people and having me bring them for a reason, and I probably need the lesson, and probably people on the other side need the lesson of the people that I'm bringing on the show. So I'm excited. It's a little bit different than Kingdom Talks, because in Kingdom Talks we kind of all have the same flavor of we're all heaven walkers, we're all, so this will be reaching out a little bit more, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, your focus is spirit-centered and business, and pulling those two together. So there are going to be some people in the business arena that have something to offer in the spirit realm, but maybe not the same as what we do here in Walking in the Heavens. So
right. And I don't know, but I'm suspecting that I will be having people who perhaps walk in like a new age kind of thing. And so what I will be teasing out of what they say is the righteous real. What did God really intend that principle for? And sometimes I have friends who just have a heart of gold and they love people. They just maybe got hurt by the church and so stepped into, spiritual new agey or stuff, or, we don't know their journey, but we do know that we're at the crossroads and we're at an intersection when God can touch them. God can touch them at any time, but there's a reason and there's a purpose. So maybe me having an open heart and an open mind and loving them enough to give them the stage, the platform of coming on, maybe they will see, oh wow, Christians aren't so critical and judgmental. You know what I mean? So no. I'm just saying, if God can use me to reach those people, even though we're not even having a Christianese conversation.
Yeah.
So weird.
No, I love that. To be in a place where you have the freedom to have a conversation with somebody that doesn't believe the same as you. I mean, we've talked about it on Kingdom Talks multiple times, is that when you are firm in who you are and you love yourself, you then become interested in people who think differently or believe differently, because you want to get to know them and you're not afraid of your own identity being undermined by what they might say. So yeah, it'll be an interesting challenge for you in the process to do exactly what you said, that you would be able to pull the righteous real out without offending them, but also without even offending, some of the viewers. And I would just say to any viewers that if you're offended and triggered, it may be something where you want to take that to the Father, because the Father's not offended and He's not triggered by these people. He loves them. Doesn't mean that we have to agree with them. It doesn't mean that we follow them specifically, but there is something in each and every one of the children of God, which is everybody, that we can probably pull some gold out of. So yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And Gil, I have to tell you, I am so not perfect at this. I get triggered and I freak out if something is going down a path like in the past. That's totally taboo. We don't talk about that. You know what I mean? We just don't go there. So if we start going down a path like that, I am working on me too. So
well, believe me, I know, because I haven't said this to you, but there was a show that you were on and I brought a topic up because I wanted to just go down that road to discuss it. And you and the other person both were triggered. And I'm like, oh boy, I need to back off of that one.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, don't make me have a trigger moment in front of God and everybody.
I am all about the conversation, and you know that. And I love to have conversation, especially about things that are generally taboo, because I want to get it out in the open. Doesn't mean that I have to agree with it. It doesn't mean I have to agree with the person that's presenting their viewpoint, but it teaches me to love them and honor them and bless them. And if I'm triggered, that's just a point for me to say, okay, Father, this is something that needs to be worked out of me, because I know the Father's not triggered and I know that He loves them. How do I get to love them as well and not condemn them and judge them, but hopefully that they would see the love of God in me and possibly say, I want more of that, versus me judging them and condemning them and correcting them. And, hey, if people are open for correction, if they're hungry, absolutely. But otherwise, you're just wasting your breath anyway.
Yeah, and it's a really point of sharpening our discernment, because there's a few things that could be happening. It could be our own filters and experience coming up, or it could be the enemy going, neener, 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 I don't want you to know this, na, 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 or it could be Holy Spirit going, this isn't for you, it's not for you right now, something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I even accept that, even when, if I'm doing a show and I try to go down a road with somebody and they don't, they get triggered and I have to just back off. I just also accept that, okay, this isn't the time for that Father doesn't want this to happen anyway. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not bent out of shape if I can't go down a road with somebody. But I love the opportunities, and that's what you're going to have a lot of. I mean, and I'd even say that I'm slightly a little bit envious because you get to talk to these people. I would love to talk to those people.
Well, you can be a guest host on my show, Gil. I'll let you.
Well, the intent is for Kingdom Talks Media to become, my heart is to see it potentially become a 24/7, to where there's multiple people doing multiple shows and that we have enough shows to fill 24/7. I mean, obviously we're not doing them all live, but we would be doing pre-recorded so that we could get them up and live, so that people, there's always something there to watch, and people would get to choose the channel. There's the Bralynn Spirit-Centered Business channel, there's the Kingdom Talks main channel, and there's others that I'm asking and inviting on as well. I think and hope that soon we'll even have a show in Spanish that we'll be doing maybe once a week. We'll see. Yeah. Those
girls over there in Colorado Springs are amazing. Your Latinas. Yeah, they are great.
They are amazing.
Well, I am honored, Gil, that you would trust me to be the first show that you bring on to the Kingdom Talks Media Network. So
I figure you've been in training long enough. You've been the co-host on here, and it's like now it's time to kind of set you free and launch you out. And I know that Spirit-Centered Business has been your baby for a long time, and it's really good stuff, and people need to know about it. So to give you that time and opportunity to focus on that and to launch, because you've been putting a lot of time and energy into Kingdom Talks, and we've appreciated every bit of it. It's been awesome, and we still got a long ways to go ourselves, but at the same time, we can't hold on to people when it's time for them to launch. And I can see it already that you're going to be very busy very soon with your own stuff. And it's fun. I have the academy and the activation group, and then I have one-on-one clients that I'm coaching, and it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of synergy going on and a lot of movement going forward. And part of my heart, the reason that I do the coaching business is to release the voices that have been held captive by fear and doubt. That's good.
So many people have messages to get out to the world, and they think, oh, no one's going to listen to what I have to say, or who wants to hear me, or I don't have the credential, I haven't arrived. But oh my gosh, there's so many ways that you can just take inventory of what you do have, the brilliance, the expertise. If you came out of corporate in any kind of way, you have so much more in you that can be shaped into something that can be monetized and bring, even if it's just a revenue stream on the side of your 9-to-5 until you ramp it up and become your business. There's ways that can happen. And this is just one of the amazing things that I love Holy Spirit for is I've been told, and I really feel that I'm anointed when I speak to someone and I can see what that business is supposed to look like. What are the possibilities of that? How could this be a transformational tool? I mostly work with people who are speakers or coaches or consultants that are creating a wisdom-based business out of their brilliance, whatever that looks like. Even for you and Adina with the ultimate impact. I know that we had conversations early on with that program. And it's the same thing. You know, what did it look like to put that together? What is the pricing structure going to be? What's the infrastructure that it's going to run on? For some reason, Holy Spirit just shows me like that, and I get the blueprint, you know. So sometimes it's actually more difficult to walk people through their mindset shift to be able to see what I see, the brilliance in them.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, you're going to have to be hiring people, or you may need a few volunteers to help you get things off launched in the beginning. But yeah, we've, as I said before, we've really seriously appreciated your input for us and with Kingdom Talks and with the Ultimate Impact. The Ultimate Impact is our heart. Right. I don't see Kingdom Talks Media going anywhere in terms of it's not going to go away. It's going to continue to grow. I just know that's going to happen. And yet at the same time, my wife and I, our heart is centered around Ultimate Impact, because it's that bridge and it's that foundation that helps people move into this movement of walking in the heavens, which is just absolutely freeing. I mean, the testimonies, we've got now hundreds of testimonies from people that have been set free from that program, and yet it's still virtually unknown, you know? And so we got to do more work to get that out there.
And you know how it's funny how you never despise small beginnings, because remember when you and Adina and I were sitting in a Rayleigh's little coffee shop, you know, penciling out what this Ultimate Impact is going to look like, and it's going to be 7 series. Okay, so we got 1 and 2. Oh wait, we have to go back and do 1 and 2 again. Wait, because God kept giving you more and more revelation, and we had to keep doing it. Like, this is so cool, but it's like, oh, so much work.
We had a lot of do-overs.
Exactly, but you guys are doing awesome. Are you into 4 yet?
No, we just finished 3. And just so everybody knows, I mean, this was our second time through filming the entire Series 1, Series 2, and Series 3, which each one of them has, you could probably do 5 times 7, 35. So each series has, close to 100 in it, right? Did I do that right?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And we did them over almost immediately after we did them the first time. It's been a lot of work. And yes, there will be a Series 4, but we're actually probably going to go back and redo Series 2 before we go to Series 4. Again, because of the downloads.
Because exactly.
Keeping it relevant.
It doesn't stop teaching us, right?
Yeah. But at some point, we got to figure out how to not redo them over and over.
Well, we might have to figure out some sort of a supplement system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yes, you guys do need to move forward, because I remember that we had 7 all lined out, right? Mm-hmm. So the original was, it's going to take a year to get through, and yada yada, and but it's an awesome series, and I just want to honor you guys with all of that time, and you put it together, and it's really done professionally, and now you have a whole studio. I mean, it was professionally even before you had a studio, so. Yeah. You guys are doing great. And anybody who hasn't gone through the Ultimate Impact, it's very, very foundational. I've been through it multiple times, just because I wanted to go through the iterations with them, and I wanted to lead the groups and all of those things. Yeah. So I have a little bit more knowledge, but I can tell you that when the first time you go through, you'll just be wowed at, oh, this makes so much sense. It's like you read the Bible in a new way. I'm like, this has been there all my life, and I've never seen it this way. Mm-hmm. The way that Gil and Adina put that together is just phenomenal, and it will absolutely rock your socks off. So it's in a good way, very good way.
Yeah, and then I can't. Everybody I've talked to that has gone through it even a second or third time, they always are saying how much more they're getting out of it, because once you get through it, you're at a whole different level, and then you go through it again and you're realizing that the stuff that we were teaching, you can kind of see it in multiple levels, and all of a sudden a whole new world is opening up, and that's what people are getting excited about, because it's been just setting people free to walk in who they truly are and to learn how to be the ecclesia, and it's just empowering.
Right. I've learned a lot along the way, and it says in Proverbs, I just read this today, that when you find wisdom, buy it, invest in it. And I can tell you that when I came out of corporate and I just did some soul searching, okay, God, what do you want me to do? I had to invest in retooling myself, in coaches, in mentorships, in programs, in all of that, to retrain myself to take what was inherently in me, what I absolutely loved about being an architect and a project management and a manager for some of the largest corporations in the U.S., managing multi-million-dollar. What was those pieces that I could take and bring into my business now, and learning the language of entrepreneurship, because and especially if you're coming into online stuff, there's so much to learn.
Yeah. I'm
not even an expert in any of it. I know enough to be dangerous, but I know enough to hire well. So that's good. But I just want to encourage anyone who is considering a transition, or it's such a time of shifting that I hear so many people wanting to start a business or wanting to be seeing what's happening in the corporate world or in the government or in their 9-to-5 or whatever, and they want to be more in control of their financial future and more in control of shaping their expression of God in the marketplace exactly how God created them to be. And so therefore it might not necessarily, they might not put on a hat that says I'm now a business owner or I'm an entrepreneur, but they have this calling to shape something in a way that feels more authentic and genuine to them. And so by learning that those principles of business, they will come into that entrepreneurship or, creation of a business just slowly, because God's calling them. And I think that it's time. The time is shifting now when we need to be very flexible. And you just saw this with, you just moved, right? I'm going to be moving soon. I'm not going to have this studio for too much longer. So we have to be flexible, and we can take our skills and our brilliance and our expertise wherever we go. Yeah. It's not tied to a brick and mortar necessarily, right? So we have to be nimble in what God is doing and where He's calling us to be salt and light. And, where in the world, it could be anywhere. With the technology, we can work from anywhere. Yeah.
And I know that there's people that you have been looking for, we've been looking for, and we found some of them to help us with video editing. And it's like we need a social media expert to step in and help get all this stuff out there, because that's my heart. I'm a strong marketer, and I just evangelist. When I was in the system, I was an evangelist. Had to get the word out, and that's still where I'm at. I want to get the word out. I want to see as many people set free as possible. So we're looking for that social media expert that wants to come alongside and partner with us. And I know that once we get a few people in line, that we want to help others. I mean, we can partner with you, and there's others that are coming on board. Joyland here, Larry McKnight is a great teacher, and he's got already some great videos put together. So we're looking forward to getting those out. There's just so much going on and so much happening that there's a lot of people who are standing on the sidelines looking in at the game, knowing that they've got a piece and they've got some game in them too, and they would love to be in the game, but they don't know how to get started. And that's again where they can reach out to you, and you can help them, lead them down that path to get them up and running. Because there's a lot of gold and a lot of people that haven't stepped up yet because the enemy's convinced them that they don't have anything. And that's and
that breaks my heart when people don't see their own value or what they could bring. You really only have to be a step or two ahead of someone else in order to reach back and hold and help them, pull them forward. Yeah. You don't have to be miles ahead. I just want to encourage anyone who's thinking about just being a coach or being a mentor or sharing your wisdom or something, just do it. Just, there are people on the other side of ourselves getting over ourselves that need to hear what we have to say.
It's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. There was something else I was just gonna mention. What was that? Oh, I know. When you were talking about calling in a team, yes, I've been praying for a team for quite a long time. If there are, people in college or something that want experience, that would be really cool to be able to bring them on board, because a lot of those people have a lot of tech skills.
Yeah.
Everything it revolves around tech now. Even getting this show out. Yeah. I'm looking at the studio and the lights and the camera and the, everything all around me, and I'm sure you are too. Like, somebody's got to deal with all of this stuff, and then somebody's got to deal with the digital part of it too.
Yeah.
And we're Spirit-Centered Business is also on the Fringe Radio Network now. I have a podcast, and it's going to be releasing 2 weeks. So when I release it on Kingdom Talks Media in video form, 2 weeks later, it will be available in MP3 as the podcast form. So, and we started that cycle, and so we're syndicated on iHeartRadio and iTunes and Spotify and Castbox and Deezer, Spreaker, through the Fringe Radio Network. And so I just want to give a shout out to Johnny McMahon and Johnny Iron, and Michael Basham for that. Thank you so much for letting us use that platform. But here's another thing too: we need to get the Kingdom Talks shows out there. So we need someone to come alongside and help us with that, Yeah. That's like, it's never ending. So we are calling in the troops.
we need lots of help. And it's coming. I mean, moving here, or at least I've got tech people that can help me with things that I couldn't do before, and it's been awesome. And I spent all day, let's see, 2 days ago, totally tore down the studio that we've built here. And rebuilt it so that it's mobile within the building, so we can move this whole camera and light sets and everything. It's on a cart now, so we can move it throughout the building, because there's going to be other things coming up. We've got conferences coming up, and our whole intent is to be the leader in online conferences. So that's a whole new thing that is coming up. So again, we need people who are interested in this, and if you got tech skills, reach out to us, because we can certainly put you to work, and you get to be part of something that I honestly believe in. And it's not an arrogant statement, but I just believe that God is using Kingdom Talks to get the word out to multiple people on multiple subjects, and the heart of it is love, honor, and respect. So it's not, it's not about picking one person and saying this is the way, you got to follow that one person, they got all the answers. No, it's understanding that we each carry a piece of the puzzle, and that is not just in the ministry or in the religious, realm, but it's in, government, it's in family, it's in education, it's in business, multiple places that we're looking to give people exposure, so that the billions of people that are out there have different people that they can choose from. And it's all about, you need to know what resonates with you, what is resonating in your spirit, who do you connect with, and be able to go that direction. So that's important to us. So
Right. There's that spark of awakening that needs to happen. And then with Kingdom Talks, there's the bridge that you need to show people that it's safe and approved. Mm-hmm. First of all, because it's kind of, some coming out of the church age, we were told that it's not safe.
Right.
It's not approved, and then there has to be some sort of a protocol of, okay, how do we step into the heavens? How do we open ourselves to the new thing that God is doing safely, watching the gates and the doors, and also, again, Ultimate Impact will teach you how to do that. Mm-hmm. And then thirdly, what to expect once you do that, because you don't want to get freaked out in your first try, which I've gotten freaked out, and you've been with me a couple times, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm seeing right now, but this isn't right. I got to back out, So
Yeah. Well, that's why it's important, in Ultimate Impact, we encourage people to do it in groups.
Yes.
Yeah. It's important. You have that community.
Exactly.
Community is important to God. Relationship is important to God. So why would we want to try to Lone Ranger some of this stuff? We're all pioneering a lot of this. So need to not do it alone, but in community.
Right. I love the fact that you have a vision for not only being a 24/7 media network, but also to be a conference, host of conferences. And I'm doing my first cruise retreat. I'm so excited. Woo,
so tell us about it. Tell us about it. I don't know that have you shared it yet anywhere online?
I have not shared it yet. I have not. This is the very first. This is the launch.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So I don't even have a lot of details other than the date is September 12th through the 19th. It'll be that week. It'll either the 12th or the 13th and end on the 19th or the 20th, whichever way the very specific cruise is. And Lindy Strong is on board with me, and we're working on another person that I'm so excited about. And that's all I'm going to say, other than it'll be healing our mindset and our emotional triggers that keep us out of wisdom, because we need wisdom in our business. And anything that's keeping you away from wisdom is typically tied to a heart issue, which is tied to a wounding. And so once we get that cleaned up, we can get our better mindset so that we can do our business better and show up the way God created us to show up in the marketplace. So it's going to be all around that. We don't even have a sexy title for it yet. So newer than new.
Where's the cruise going to be at? Do you know anything about that?
Yes.
This is an Alaskan cruise where we all freeze together, or is it
it's the Caribbean.
Bahamas?
I don't do cold.
So Colorado Springs isn't in your scroll then, huh?
I think as soon as you guys move to a tropical place, I'm going to move there with you. But I might visit Colorado Springs. Yeah, no, I grew up in Wisconsin. I totally get cold, and I know that I don't like it. Yeah. So it's the Caribbean. My pillow keeps going around here. Yeah, no, the cruise will be in the Caribbean, and it's going to be very much a workcation. Definitely, it'll be a retreat where there's a lot of time to just process, have fun. We're going to have activities. It'll be a lot of fun. A lot of transformation and implementation.
Sounds really good. So, when do you think you'll have the details ready for people to start signing up?
Well, it's got to be in the next 2 weeks. I'm kind of under the gun now as far as time pressure. Right. So definitely.
So by the end of the month.
Middle of February.
By the middle of February, okay.
Yeah, we've got to start rolling on it because if people are making payments, how cruise lines are, you've got to get the last one in 3 months before, and there's just a lot of stuff, so we've got to get going.
And I know this has been a dream of yours for quite a while. You from like day one said that we'd have these webinars, and then we'd go to the workshops, and then the hotel, and then eventually onto the cruise, which was your ultimate thing. So it sounds like you're kind of jumping just to the cruise.
I know. God is so funny, but he gave that to me in the Robert Henderson conference when we were first learning about the courts of heaven. It was Faisal Malik who said, how do you shift culture? You buy it. And I just said, I was working the conference from the sound booth, you remember, at the Rocker Roseville. I was up in and I'm like, oh, Lord, so what do you want me to buy? And he said, cruise ship. I'm like, I'm going to buy a cruise ship, am I? And then I heard cruise line. Like, okay, well, I'm stretching for cruise ship. So let's just start with that.
Well, that's good. That's good. All right, so we got about 10 more minutes or so. What else would you like to share about spirit-centered business that people need to know so that they can be headed your direction? Anything else?
Well, I haven't really talked too much about the activation group, which a lot of your audience might really enjoy. We've been running with just a handful of us for several months now, and we call them the founders, but I'm going to be opening up other other groups, at different time frames. We'll be doing the same thing, but in different time frames, so that we can really develop a community like the ecclesia that you're developing with Ultimate Impact.
Yeah.
And we have had just some amazing coincidences by going up into the heavenly realms and seeing what Father has for us as far as strategy and doing things with our business and meeting beings who can help us in our business. And let me just share something that I have not shared on Kingdom Talks yet. I know I've shared a couple other different stories. I have not shared this one. And this was actually with a client, just full disclaimer, this wasn't in the activation group. This could very much happen because this is what we do. I saw my client kneeling on a pillow, and she had her hands out like this in front of the throne. And she had been waiting her, hold on, I'm checking into the Holy Spirit to see what I can say here. Okay, let me just be really general. She had a family member who was missing. And when she had her hands out like this in the spirit, in front of the throne, in the natural, she got a phone call that said that family member was okay.
I can't tell you how many times we have had things like that. I mean, I'll be general as well, but we were doing a court case with somebody, and that this person was, one of their requests at the time was that they would get more clients, higher end clients, and that was it. So he wanted better clients, and he wanted more referrals. That's what he was asking for, and we end the court session, the heavenly court session. He picks up his phone, and there's a text from his best client giving him a referral. So that is just one of many circumstances where people walked out and called us later and says, hey, while we were in the session, this happened. And it was a direct answer to the court sessions that we were going through or the heavenly encounter. So it is absolutely real. And we just need to be stepping into it further and further, and just know that sometimes you'll encounter things that you don't necessarily understand at the moment, and maybe you won't understand it for weeks, months, years later. But it is real stuff happening. So you're doing that with business people, and you're getting results right there in your encounters.
We not only in the encounter, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that go on outside of the encounter. I don't think Janet would mind me sharing because it's an amazing story. Janet is one of our members from the UK.
I remember Janet.
From Yorkshire, right?
Yeah.
Well, we had been legislating or asking Father for her for various things, but she now has a new job. She moved to South Africa. She's working with a company who has contracts in Zimbabwe, and her citizenship papers went through like that.
Wow.
It's like unheard of.
Come on. Yeah, awesome.
And we had seen show what we had seen in the spirit was the angels were smoothing this tablecloth across our conference table, and we really felt that there was just going to be a smoothing and an ease of what was going on. And sure enough, and also we were told to embrace, I think it was embrace, the word embrace, favor, and the being of favor literally walked into the conference table. It's like it was and it's like it was, that's how much we're supposed to embrace favor, like we're supposed to take it into us. So okay, so we just have really such amazing times, and just so that everyone knows, we meet on two times a month. The current group meets on first and third Thursdays, so 2 times a month, and that you can also see on spiritcenteredbusiness.com and click on the membership button there, and you can join the activation group. So.
Wow. So good. All right. Well,
so good, right?
Yeah, thanks to Lily
That's
Weeks,
your-
I
I know.
now have a cup that expresses it, so I don't have to say it as much anymore. I can just hold my cup up.
Right.
But I do want to just honor you and bless you and thank you for everything that you've done for Kingdom Talks, Ultimate
Thank
Impact,
you.
Kingdom
You're
Equipping
welcome.
Center. You have done a lot. You've been there for us. And, I just kind of look at where we're at now. We've got a long ways to go yet, but we have come a long ways as well. And it's just been a super, super blessing. And you've been a strong backbone to help us move things forward. And really want to just bless you and honor you for that.
Well, I do. You and Adina have been like my longest standing clients. Like, I don't know how many years even. I lost count, but yeah. So I appreciate you guys too.
It's been a long road, and we didn't even talk about stuff you did for Meditate on Me to help in the direction of that with Adina's meditation on. So meditateonme.com if you want to go check that out. Adina's been working on that for 4 or 5 years, and a lot of great guided meditations on there for Christians. Good stuff.
Yeah, and we have also the conference recordings, we call them courses now. I see the sunlight is getting me. Oh well, that's okay.
Little halo, there you go.
I have
Half
this
halo.
is my spirit-centered business look. So the conference recordings are on there too, and we worked hard to put all of those together, and Gil and Adina did awesome, and all of the people, I think we've got some by Chris Carter, some by Terry Spencer, Mike Parsons, Nancy Cohen. Oh wow, now I'm really getting
you're really
getting the spirit light going here. I'll have to go close it for our members only section.
Yeah, so all right, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up then, and that way we can close that. It looks like you got some, the dimensions. You're about to just shift right out. Anyway.
Right, before I fade away into the next round.
Well, I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you are interested in partnering with Kingdom Talks and to help move this forward, as I mentioned, we have a lot more to go. Dreaming that we can take this to a 24/7. Obviously, that's a lot of work and a lot of funding that needs to take place, and you can help out. You can partner with us by going to kingdomtalksmedia.com, right above me there, and look for the partnership area. And we would just love to have any of you partner with us by, financially you can partner with us, or you can call us up or contact us and let us know that you have some skills that we might be able to engage with. Obviously, we can't bring everybody on because we've got to, make sure that we have a good fit. And some people have some great skills, but they're not quite what we're looking for. But we are all moving forward together, and we just are thankful for each and every one of you. So if you want to catch the behind the scenes, we do have that for our partners. That is just for our partners, that they get to check out the behind the scenes stuff. So we usually spend anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes sometimes. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, let me just plug what we're going to be doing behind the scenes. I'm going to teach my content Kickstarter for anyone who does want to get started with their wisdom-based business.
There you go.
I'm going to teach that in your
behind the scenes for the partners. All right. Very good. Love you all. Thank you, Bralynn. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for everything you've done. And
thank you, Bill.
Thank you for being the first show, Spirit Centered Business on Kingdom Talks.
Thank you.
All right.